All right, what are we looking at?
Federal action that today marks the third straight day of protests against threats of federal action in Chicago, with that city's mayor dismissing Trump administration claims that sending troops there would decrease crime. In a New York Times op-ed, Mayor Brandon Johnson writes, sending in the National Guard is the wrong solution to a real problem. Over the weekend,
unbelievably weak. Jesus Christ, man. Oh my God. Imagine you're the mayor of Warsaw and you're like, listen, okay, the ghettos are the wrong solution to a correct problem. What the man? Crazy.
President posted what appeared to be an AI-generated meme inspired by the film Apocalypse Now, and he captioned it, Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War.
That's great.
A city he just said should take his help.
You try and reason with people like in Chicago with the governor and the mayor. You try and reason with them, and it's like you're talking to a wall. It's just doesn't. I assume it's just a political ideology.
All this capitulation for nothing. Seriously, like the Democrats, they backpedal and they backpedal and they backpedal. They're so weak, and it earns them literally nothing. Like absolutely zero. Like they're all, it's like a widespread like capo behavior. Seriously, it gets you absolutely nothing in the long run. It's crazy.
Not stupid people. Must be an ideology that's just buried in their head and you can't do a damn thing about it.
Joining me now, NBC Shaquille Brewster, who is in Chicago for us. Eugene Robinson is a Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and MSNBC political analyst. So the leaders in Gene, they just can't be reasoned with. So what do you see as the purpose of that meme from Apocalypse Now, which, of course, is a take on I love the smell of napalm in the morning?
Thanks.
You know, it's trolling. He's trolling everybody and being provocative and getting everybody all worked up about.
So just a scare tactic?
Yes, it's to scare everybody and to show how big.
Thank you, 90-year-old man.
President Trump is ramping up his attacks on Chicago as he prepares to send possible federal enforcement to the city. Peaceful protesters hitting the streets following the president's apparent threat on social media. Many people expected to see DHS operations in the city this weekend, but that hasn't been the case so far. ABC's Alex Stone joined.
I think apparently there have been some sparse reports of federal action taking place in Chicago, but the National Guard have not arrived yet. So it's really just it's a matter of when, not if. And to what extent, I suppose. Though apparently, you know, we already have reports that he's not going to be using the Illinois National Guard, but rather deploying like Texas National Guard and stuff. So
live from the Little Village neighborhood in Chicago. Alex, Little Village is known to be a vibrant area. So what's the mood like today?
Hey there, Ike. Well, it's relatively quiet here in what would normally be busy, not only being a Sunday, but Mexican Independence Day celebrations getting going this weekend and into next weekend. We've been talking to a number of vendors and restaurants, barbershops that are along this stretch of roadway here through the middle of the area, and they say it is very quiet, and it's been quiet for some time because of the threat of the increased immigration enforcement, and the people have just left the area. The vendors have decided that they're not going to show up, that customers would be coming in, that they're not coming in as well. So there's no immigration enforcement that we've seen anywhere around Chicago, but even still, people are saying, look, that they're afraid to come out and they're staying away from this area.
And Alex, that street you're on is home to a 2-mile stretch of small businesses. What are you hearing from them specifically?
Yeah, the people are scared, and that's what we've heard from all around Chicago. We were out yesterday at Naval Station Great Lakes, where it's believed that the federal agents are going to be headquartered when and if they do actually end up coming into Chicago. And we talked to one young man who said that he was very scared, that he only lives a block away from the Naval Station, and that his parents would be among those that, if federal agents find them, would be deported, and that he just cannot imagine life without his parents at his age with his siblings.
Riveting stuff. Riveting stuff. Can we get more details on how it would be emotionally traumatic for his parents to be ripped away? The fact that no one is talking about what what it is, that being a consolidation of power around the executive. Yeah, no, we functionally don't have journalism in this country anymore. The closest thing we get to journalism is, I don't know, maybe The Intercept will do something now and again, or whatever else. But like we functionally, like, that's just not an apparatus that functions anymore. It's been completely folded under the wing of the state. You know, there was pushback during Vietnam. There was pushback during the Red Scare. There was pushback, even to some extent, like with the Iraq War. I think that Israel really broke it. Like we've looked at what is essentially like years long complicity in a extremely unpopular, senseless genocide that is maintained, like its integrity is maintained through like the collective consensus of thousands and thousands of media people who all just follow orders from the top. You know, like it's now that line has been broached, basically anything can be gotten away with. We don't have to have real conversations about the consolidation of power into the executive.
If they do find his parents. So among the immigrant community here around Chicago and here in Little Village as well, there is definitely that concern. And the president's social media posting that you talked about last night, where he said Chicago's about to find out why it's called the Department of War, what he renamed the Department of Defense last week, that just amped everything up again. He did say today, though, that he's not declaring war on Chicago and that he wants the streets to be safer in general. But that messaging to the people here was that federal agents and maybe even troops were about to...
Pathetically low turnout for these protests, too. I mean, we're literally talking about the military occupation of the, third largest city in the United States, and there's nothing. There's nothing at all. Like, it's 5 people out here. No one cares, really. There's no collective, there's no, like, collective culture. There's no, like, social network or frame that people band around. You know, no one cares.
Here was that federal agents and maybe even troops were about to come in. None of that has gone on. We have not seen any ramp up today whatsoever in the streets. No sign that anything is changing, at least today.
All right, Alex Stone, thank you for that update. And ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang joins me now for more from the White House. Selena, you just spoke to the president. What did he tell you about his escalating threats against cities like Chicago?
Yeah, Ike, I spoke to the president as he was leaving the White House to attend the U.S. Open, and I asked him in specific why he was targeting Democratic strongholds like Chicago, like Boston, and all of this coming also...
Like, what is the point of asking the president this? You know exactly what he's going to say. You know exactly, like, what's the point? We already know why. There's no ambiguity. He's said why. Journalists have asked him directly, like, hey, what about other Republican-run cities that have higher crime rates? And he's responded with, well, no, the Democrat ones are higher. There's no, like, you can't ask him questions out of this. You have to accuse him. You know, reporters used to do that. I know it's crazy to think of now, but, like, reporters did actually used to, like, confront people. That was a thing they could do. It was like a tool they had in their toolkit.
ICE, as DHS has confirmed to us that ICE operations are now underway in Boston. And take a listen to what the president told me here.
Why? Let me ask you. Yeah. Really higher than Chicago? You're not. Excuse me. Do you know how many people were killed in Chicago last weekend? 8. You know how many people were killed in Chicago the week before? 7. You know how many people were wounded? 74 people were wounded. You think there's worse than that? I don't think so.
But despite what the president said, FBI data shows that, in fact, Memphis and St. Louis do have significantly higher murder rates than...
Wow, what a surprise. Incredible. Do you think he remembers those numbers, or is he making them up? It doesn't matter. It's just, like, what, does it matter at all? Is there any... Does any meaningful difference? Hey, Selena seems to be asking good questions, at least. No, she's not. There's no benefit. There's no way of crossing the partisan line by fact-checking the president at this point, okay? There hasn't been for years. You couldn't fact-check him back in 2017. Why the f*** are you still trying to today? It's pathetic. Mr. President, sir, the data would seem to suggest that the death camps you're building are actually not necessary. And then he blathers some response and waddles off. Like, it doesn't matter. It's disgusting. It's a humiliation ritual. It's a constant reminder of the impotency of the journalistic apparatus, you know?
Both Chicago and Boston. The president is also defending his plans for Chicago and other cities, saying that they're cleaning up these American cities.
Yeah. Driving out the vermin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I get you. Wonder how long it'll be before they actually deploy it. NBC Chicago.
The mixed signals continue on when federal agents or maybe even the National Guard could arrive in Chicago. President Trump is standing by his threat to call up troops, though he insists he is not gearing up to go to war.
The president faced backlash after this social media post yesterday, but today he downplayed the post, saying he wants to clean up the city.
Meaningless. Downplayed the post. As if there's any rhetorical difference at all between a fascist saying they want to declare war in a city and a fascist saying that they want to clean up a city. What a waste of time. We deserve this shit, we really do. Not we as in me, sorry, I'm exempting myself from this, I'm a good boy. But like the United States of America, you know? It's insane how like even the slightest bits of impropriety or corruption in other countries will get people out there protesting even at risk of being killed by like the Gestapo of their local, you know, authoritarian government. And over here, even when we still have a bunch of civil protections, it's just nothing. It's insane, insane weakness, nonstop. It's just no. Why am I fiddling with the lights right now? I don't know. I'm irritated. I'm a little irritated. Why is my light remote so out of battery? I keep changing the battery. It doesn't stop how quickly it drains.
The back and forth tug of war
still knows whether or not this is going to be happening. The talk continues. The tug of war between the city of Chicago and the Trump administration continues not only today, but this weekend. And I'm sure you all saw that social media post on Truth Social where Donald Trump said that Chicago is soon to find out why it's now called the Department of War. Well, earlier today, he looked to clarify those comments. However, Senator Tammy Duckworth was also quick to respond.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
I think he's renaming the Department of Defense the Department of War. And did he not just say that Chicago will find out what it means to be at war? I take what the President of the United States says very seriously. And if that's
it's such an indictment of the seriousness of this country and of the Democrats and of the journal. I keep saying the same thing. I'm so annoyed about it, you know? Like, as if, again, there is no rhetorical difference between a fascist saying they're going to war with Chicago and saying they're cleaning up Chicago. Like, they're jumping through hoops over nothing. Wow, Trump, like, mixes rhetoric and backpedals and, like, changes the terminology he uses constantly. Let's, like, seriously engage with the wide variety of terminology that we've been, you know, posited here. Jesus Christ. Did you see Tammy complain about Trump wearing a cavalry hat at the meme? Yeah. The stolen valor thing. Like, that's the most offensive thing about what he posted. Ugh. Exhausting. You haven't earned that cavalry hat, sir. Mr. President. West Wing. At the very least, this presidency guarantees we're not going to have any West Wing bullshit for a couple of decades, you know? Like, nobody can make anything like... We can't have any Sorkin bullshit now. We've been immunized against it for a long while. Kind of worth it? I'd say so. A little bit. You're way too optimistic? I don't really think there's like a market for it. Like the average Democrat is too angry. I have a dream of a world without cringe. Oh, were you planning on deleting your VGG account, Richard Fallis?